Hello, Dino here, and welcome again to another Limitless Hair Expert video tutorial. My name is Dino, where we combined top expert hair advice with self-improvement. Today's subject is, how do you determine price versus value when you're adding hair? Alright, so now I want this to be very helpful. I want to cover some specific principles that you should follow. But first, I'm going to simplify this in reference to what's valuable in reference to a hair extension. So let's just take a hair extension as one example. A hair extension, there's many different types of hair extensions. And without getting into the different types, I want to explain how you would evaluate the price versus the value just using that one example. Here it is. The finer you add hair, the more valuable it is, but the more expensive it is. So let me give you an example. If they're using something called a track or a wefting, it's a strip of hair. Sometimes they use in some hair extensions. The thinner the track, the longer it takes to make it, the finer it is in your head, and the more valuable it is. Conversely, the thicker the track, the quicker it's made. If it's made quicker, it costs less, but it's bulkier on your head and a little bit more risky on your hair. Now, for other hair extensions like keratin extensions or the extensions with a bead, same principle prevails here. When the hunk of hair is thinner, it's going to take longer to bind it on, more time to bind it on, more time to gather it and prepare it. So the finer it is, the cost is going to go up because it takes longer to prepare it and it takes longer to apply it. But what happens, the finer it is, the less you feel it on your head. Right? So remember that principle. Now let's get to any sort of hair system. Same thing. The thicker the base, the thicker they add hair. And what I mean by thicker adding hair, they sometimes add hair 15 hairs at a time, 10 hairs at a time, 8 hairs at a time, 5 hairs at a time, all the way down to 1 hair at a time. The finer they add the hair, the longer it's going to take to make it, all right? And therefore, it takes longer. It's going to cost more, but it's going to be more natural. Same thing with the base. If they're putting hair on some sort of base, whether it's a hair unit, some sort of hair process, or even a wig, the finer they make the base, it takes longer to make it, but it's lighter on your head. And the less hairs they use at the same time, which is finer, it's going to take them longer to make it, and therefore it's going to cost more, but it's going to be a little bit more natural, all right? And now, that pertains to any type of thing you're putting on your head, whether it's sort of a clip-on extension, whether it's a professional extension, or it's any type of hair system, or it's any type of wig or hair unit of any source. Even a hair transplant. Hair transplants will cost more if they take 1 hair at a time and replant 1 hair at a time. It'll take longer, but it'll be more natural. But please keep in mind, all of these methods, all of the hair extensions, and all of the hair systems and the wigs, no matter how fine they are, the value goes up and the cost goes up with it, okay? But they're still not really totally healthy. So please keep that in mind. If you really want to get very healthy in reference to adding hair, you want to add 1 hair at a time, and you want to utilize your hair and not cover it in any sort of way. And that's another subject, and you can see that on our video if you want to see that. All right? So now, our quote for today is the following. Thinking is the hardest discipline of all, because that's why so few people do it. Thomas Edison. Now, why did he say this? Thomas Edison was an inventor. He registered over 1,000 patents in the U.S. Patent Office. All right, so he was a deep thinker. Why did he say this? Because he felt most people don't take time to think, all right, which is very valuable. We're all thinking. We're all busy and we're thinking, but it's in short little excerpts when we're thinking, all right? Even when we're reading, we're thinking short little excerpts, so to speak, okay? We're not thinking long-term and thinking things through in detail. So that's why Thomas Edison made that statement that it's rare when you take time to think things through on your own and picture things, and it becomes very helpful. So now for our next Limitless Hair Expert video will be what are the true details about every attachment in existence. And this you're going to find very interesting. What I mean by every attachment in existence means that there's many methods of adding hair. All right, many, all right? But you always have to separate what is the technique of how they're adding the hair separately from how are they attaching it. So as an example, you can have a hair extension and it could be attached 10 different ways. So when you're looking into this, you always want to know what are they putting on and how are they attaching it. That's why this subject is going to be very interesting, and I'll see you soon.